Good afternoon. Welcome to FarmTech's Q&A with our experts webinar. Our panel of experts today includes Lynn Walters and Zachary Carr. I'm going to turn the mic over to Lynn and Zachary so they can introduce themselves and talk to you a little bit about their experience at FarmTech and in the agriculture and horticultural industries. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Lynn Walters, and I've worked here at FarmTech for about 15 and a half years. I am a business development manager here, and I specialize in curtain design, ventilation systems, drinking systems, greenhouses, and cold frames.
Hello, my name is Zachary Carr. I have 4 years experience in horticultural sales. Prior to my job here at FarmTech, I was a commercial plant grower for Grower Direct Farms in Somers, Connecticut. I worked there for 2 years. I graduated from the University of Connecticut with a degree in horticulture. Previous to that, I worked retail garden center for 4 years and grew mums and other bedding plants in the field.
Okay, thanks Lynn and Zach. So before we get started, I would like to talk to you a little bit about how today's webinar is going to be structured. The content of today's presentation is really going to be up to you. We will be answering the questions that you send us in today about our products and your specific applications. The questions will be answered on a first-come, first-served basis, and we're going to try to get to as many as possible today. So please type in your questions using the chat window and be as detailed as possible so that we can give you the most complete answer.
So a little bit about our company. We are leading manufacturers of agricultural, building products, greenhouses, and high tunnels. We have been in business since 1979, and we are owned and operated in the United States. And a few pictures of our greenhouses and manufactories there.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our questions. We have a couple coming in here. The first one is on our fodder system. The first couple questions we will be answering will be focused specifically on fodder. And our first question, is there a plan to allow for nutrient density management of fodder, such as adding liquid microminerals?
This question comes from Alvin Schlangen. And Alvin, most of our customers growing fodder don't add nutrients or minerals to the water. It is something that can be done, but it's not really necessary. If you want to add nutrients to the water, we have hydroponic nutrients that would work well.
Okay, the next question is also from Alvin. Are there any sources of info regarding the amount of total ration that fodder can provide for cows, hogs, or hens?
So we're working on testing different seed mixtures in order to provide complete rations for livestock. In the meantime, we have feed and forage reports that are available for a number of different seeds, including barley, red wheat, oat, sorghum, sunflower, and alfalfa. A university extension office, a vet or nutritionist, can advise you on how much fodder to feed each animal based on those reports. If we don't have the answer, we can help you find it.
Okay. Next question, do you recommend any local sources for seed?
If you're close to Iowa, we recommend Welter Seed Company. We've had great success so far, great reviews from our customers. We get all of our seed for our trials from them as well. If you're looking for a local source, type in feed and seed plus your zip code into Google, and it will usually pull up a couple stores for you to call for bulk seed prices. There are also several nationwide seed distributors, including Agway, Crop Production Services, Southern States Cooperative, U.S. Seed, All-Star, Pioneer, and Hancock Farm and Seed Company.
Our next question comes from Don Bates. How can I obtain a copy of the nutritional analysis of fodder?
So we have the documents in-house, and we can send them to you at your request. We have reports available on barley, red wheat, oats, sorghum, sunflower, and alfalfa. We're working on getting more reports for mixed fodder and complete rations. In the meantime, just call or email us, and we can provide them to you.
Next question comes from Dell Williams. How many Fodder Pro feed systems would be needed for an 800-cow dairy? I understand that you can piggyback these systems for larger operations.
So Dell, for an operation that size, we would custom design and price a system specifically for your operation, a turnkey system. A quick and easy way to determine how much fodder you should be feeding your animals per day is to take their total live body weight and multiply it by the number of animals you have, so the complete total live body weight. Multiply that by 0.02%, to find out how much fodder you would need on a daily basis in pounds. A good starting point for any animal is 2% live body weight per day. It's a general recommendation that we make to all our customers. For your application, the equation would look something like this. If you take 1,000 pounds times 800, you get 8,000 pounds times 0.02. You'd need about 16,000 pounds or 8 tons per day. We can do that for you. Just give us a call.
Another question here from Alvin. If we are trying to duplicate natural soil dynamics, how do we get those elements without soil?
Duplicating soil dynamics is not an issue when it comes to growing plants hydroponically. In a Fodder Pro feed system, we just use water. There's no medium or soil in the trays and no additional nutrients required. This translates into less variable, less overhead costs in your operation. There will also be less mess for you to worry about and take a lot of the headaches out of growing for you.
Next question comes from Jim Croker. How do you deal with mold growth in the fodder system?
Jim, there's a lot of good agricultural practices that will help prevent mold. First and foremost is where you are buying your seed. You want to make sure you are buying clean, fresh seed that is not being stored for extended periods of time. Make sure everything is sanitary around your system. We recommend sanitizing the trays in between harvests, and also that you wear gloves when you're handling the seed. Mold spores can easily be brought in on your hands. The gloves are very important. The environment is also important. You don't want to place your system next to a big stack of hay or anything else that may contaminate it. Make sure to keep within the temperature and humidity parameters that we give you. If you follow these practices, good agricultural practices, our system is designed to provide the best basis for mold-free fodder. We use drip irrigation, and there's plenty of space between the tiers for proper air circulation. We do everything possible on our end to prevent the mold for you. The rest is up to you growing with good agricultural practices.
Next question, another one from Don Bates. When I soak my seeds, what is the water to bleach ratio?
Don, we recommend a 10% bleach solution for about 10 minutes and then to rinse the seeds with water and finish the soak over a 24-hour period.
Another question from Alvin. What is the minimum ambient temperature for reasonable growth in a fodder system?
The temperature we recommend for reasonable fodder growth is between 63 degrees Fahrenheit and 75 degrees Fahrenheit.
Another question from Alvin. Do you have specifications for the amount of fodder to feed hogs and laying hens compared to cows?
Again, we recommend starting with the 2% live body weight calculation previously discussed. This is for the safety of your animals. They need to adjust to the fodder over a period of time. If they gain weight or lose weight when you first start feeding them fodder, which they probably will, you can just adjust your ration based on how they react to it. So, again, speak to your local extension office, vet, or nutritionist for their recommendation on how much feed to give your animals.
Question here from Douglas Davidson. What procedure do you use to clean the trays? Do the trays come out, or how do you prevent the wash water and bleach from getting into your irrigation fluid?
The 2.0 system is a drain-to-waste system. When you clean the trays, the water washes out of the system, so it's not going back into the irrigation fluid. You can collect it in a bucket, bring it to the garden for secondary irrigation water, or you can just let it drain into the ground. It's not contaminating irrigation water. Essentially, the trays stay in the system. You don't have to move them.
Question here from Craig Butler. What type of fodder should I grow?
When it comes to the type of fodder recommended for a specific animal, we encourage you, again, to speak to the vet or nutritionist. It's going to vary based on their current diet, their stage of life, many other things. If you do not have a vet or nutritionist, that you work with regularly, a university extension office specializing in agriculture is a fantastic resource, as they are free. If you need assistance finding a university extension office, give us a call and we can help you find that information.
Can you grow a variety of seeds in one channel?
Absolutely. We recommend starting with a small quantity of different seeds before making a commitment to any kind of fodder. You can grow one type of fodder or for a blend of nutritional purposes, or to offer your animals some variety. So that's what we're working on currently, making some complete rations by mixing different kinds of seeds.
Question here from Dell Williams. Does the water in the Fodder Pro feed system only flow from one end to the other, or can drip irrigation be used?
The 2.0 is pitched slightly so that when water is introduced at one end, it slowly trickles down to the other end. Drip irrigation in the form of drip tape running the length of the channel is not necessary. Our system is designed to get adequate wetting of the seeds for optimal fodder growth without drip irrigation.
Another question from Douglas. What is the average weight of fodder coming out of one tray after 7 days?
The average weight would be about 62.5 pounds per tray. That's a 12-foot tray. It varies based on what seed you're growing, and you may end up with more or less, but 62.5 per tray is a modest estimate.
Follow-up question from Douglas. What would be the sale price if you were growing this for someone else?
So, Doug, I assume we're talking about the fodder here. You should calculate the cost of water and any electrical that you may be utilizing to produce the fodder and the value of your time. You can also have you can also have a conversation with your customer to find out what they are comfortable with paying.
Okay, question here from Jim Croker. Are there lighting systems built into the fodder system, or do you use only natural light for growing?
Jim, there's no lights built into the system. Natural lighting is perfect. The analogy that I tend to use with my customers is if you walk into an indoor riding arena, that kind of ambient light you get from the panels on the roof would be perfect. We also have other lighting solutions here, but there's no need to have a light panel underneath each rack. It's unnecessary.
Okay, that looks like it's all we have for the fodder questions. We're going to move on to our barn curtains and ventilation portion of the webinar, and we'll start answering questions on this topic now. Okay, first question comes from Mary Sanderson. How do you properly size ventilation for your barn?
To determine the proper size for an exhaust vent, divide the cubic feet per minute rating of the fan by 600, and this will equal the square footage of vent space that is required. 600 is the maximum cubic feet of air that will travel through a 1 square foot vent in a minute.
Next question here comes from Mark Fritz. What do you recommend to prevent wind damage to barn curtains?
Mark, that's a great question. It's very important to take preemptive steps to protect your curtain from wind damage. An unprotected curtain will break down significantly faster than a protected curtain. I would recommend protecting your curtain for both the inside and the outside. On the inside of the building, I suggest using galvanized wire mesh or PVC-coated hex netting. This will not only prevent billowing, the curtain blowing inside the building, but it will also keep your animals off of it. Using a 1.66 conduit in combination with bolt-on lashing winches and some strapping will also secure your curtain on the outside and keep it nice and taut.
Okay. We have a question here from Lauren Jurgen, and this looks like our last one for barn curtains and ventilation. Do you have any barn curtain material that is insulated?
Yeah, we have quite a few different types of insulated curtain. One of our most popular is our Sunshine Curtain, and it's a 2-layer of our 5.2-ounce fabric with a poly bubble inner layer, and it has an R value of about 4. We also have some 4-layer insulated as well as 7-layer.
Okay, question here on high-efficiency lighting from Jessica Berman. What type of lighting is best for growing hydroponically?
Jessica, it depends on what your crop is. Plants use light in the red or blue spectrum in order to grow. Metal halide bulbs produce light mostly in the blue spectrum and are used for leafy crops such as lettuce and herbs. Flowering and fruiting is initiated with light in the red spectrum, so that a high-pressure sodium bulb. produces mostly light in the red spectrum and consequently are used for flowering and fruiting plants such as tomatoes. Another option is full spectrum fluorescent bulbs. They provide both spectrums of light. The nice thing about fluorescence is that you can get much closer to the plants as they run cool. Metal halide lights and high pressure sodium lights give off a lot of heat that can burn your plants if they are too close. LED lights are really what everyone is talking about. You can get them in either red or blue spectrum and they eliminate white light completely. These lights are more efficient to run, they use less electricity, and they do not generate heat. LED lights, although more expensive at the onset, are going to end up saving you money in the long run.
Okay, that looks like all the questions we have on lighting right now. We're going to start talking about high tunnels. And our first question comes from Karen Bates. What is the minimum height of a high tunnel?
Well, Karen, that is a great question. And to give you a little bit of history first, high tunnels came from cold frames, which developed from low tunnels. Many years ago, folks realized that throwing a frost blanket over their crops provided a few extra degrees of temperature control. Certain crops didn't do well with a frost blanket resting directly on them, so people started bending wire over the crops and resting the fabric on that, creating the low tunnels. The low tunnels worked so well, people wanted to make them bigger, and low tunnels evolved into cold frames. Cold frames can span 8, 10, and even 12 feet wide. As engineering improved, cold frames became high tunnels that can span up to 35 feet wide. When you ask about the minimum height of a high tunnel, I have structures as short as 6 feet and as tall as 15 feet high in the center, and the height is often driven by the width.
Follow-up question from Karen. Is there a design that works better for high snow and wind areas? Well,
Karen, again, that depends on the width that you're looking at. In the narrower widths, the Gothic models tend to do very well. A 20-foot wide Gothic does nicely because it's very pointy, so the snow slides right off. As you get wider than that, the slope of the Gothic models level out, so it's not as extreme. So in the wider models, we recommend the round. You always want to use at least 4-foot rafter spacing, and if you get extreme snow, you can actually add extra rafters or truss packages to the peak that are like special cross struts to firm up the top of the building.
Okay, another question. Oh, sorry. That's all the questions we had from Karen Bates. We have 2 questions here from Renee LaRue. How portable are your high tunnels? Can I set them up and move them later?
Well, Renee, high tunnels are quite portable and are very easy to disassemble and move to a new location. Their design and construction contribute to their portability. They are mounted to the ground with a ground post anchor, meaning that at every rafter leg there's a metal pipe driven into the ground. The rafter leg slides over the top and bolts to the pipe. We actually have had a large number of clients who essentially put their structure on a wooden sled. They mount their high tunnels on a 2x4 or 6x6 and periodically move them. However, this is not recommended for a 30 wide by 72 long high tunnel. And if you're using an NRCS approved program high tunnel, those cannot be moved. The soil quality and water runoff are being monitored during the time of your contract, but once your 3-year program is over, you can easily move your structure.
Okay, the second question from Renee is, do you orient a high tunnel north to south or east to west?
Okay, well, high tunnel orientation is different than greenhouse orientation, and a lot of people confuse the two. You can follow some of the same guidelines, of course, but the important difference is in a greenhouse you have fans doing all of your ventilation. In a high tunnel you need to maximize your natural ventilation. Instead of thinking about north to south or east to west, think about where the prevailing breeze is coming from and if you're opening up your sidewalls. If you're opening your sidewalls, you want the length of the tunnel oriented towards the prevailing wind so that the breeze keeps the air moving across the high tunnel.
Okay, moving on to hydroponics. First question on hydroponics comes from Don Bates. When growing microgreens using NFT, what is the average time from seedling to harvest? In addition, is supplemental lighting needed for growth?
Don, that's a great question. The average time from seed to harvest for most microgreen varieties is 10 to 14 days. If you have a question about a particular seed, ask your supplier. They're the best people to ask. They would be able to give you a definite answer about the specific variety of microgreens you want to grow. Supplemental lighting depends on where you are and what you're growing. We can help you determine exactly what you need. Just give us a call and we can discuss your specific application with you in further detail.
Question here from James Matthews. Can you use city water to grow hydroponically?
A lot of growers are using city water. Many people don't know this, but chlorine is actually a micronutrient for plants. If your plant reacts negatively to the levels of chlorine or other trace elements in city water, you may want to consider another water source or to invest in a reverse osmosis system. If you have doubts about your water source, have it tested. We can set you up with a filtration system or a reverse osmosis system that will eliminate any unwanted particles in your water.
Question here from Sherwin Kittle. I am new to hydroponics and I will be growing vegetables in a greenhouse using Dutch buckets. How many minutes per hour and how often per hour should I be pumping the nutrient solution into the medium?
Sherwin, it depends on what growth stage the plant is at. It also depends on the environment. Typically, a common Dutch bucket irrigation program would run the irrigation for a few minutes every hour. Other people tend to irrigate all at once in one shot per day. We could talk about that over the phone if you'd like.
Okay, we have a couple questions coming in on our fabric structures. First one comes from Brent Herbst. In the event of a tear, who makes the repairs and does it affect the integrity of the structure or the warranty?
Oh, Brent, that's going to depend on the severity of the tear. If it's a small tear, we have fabric repair tape that is very easy to use. All you do is cover the tear with the tape on both sides, and basically the tape sticks to itself through the hole, and it will hold up for the life of the cover. As long as you repair tears in the cover, they won't affect the integrity of the building. The steel trusses are what support the building, and minor tears are not a major concern. As far as the warranty, it depends on the tear. Under normal conditions, you shouldn't have to worry about any tears in the cover. We look at each claim on a case-by-case basis, and if the tear occurred due to an issue with the fabric, that is something we will cover and come out and take care of free of charge for you. The majority of tears, unless caused by an act of God, will be covered by our warranty.
Another question from Brent. Does the summer heat in Florida affect the longevity of the fabric?
Well, our covers are made of a high-quality ripstop polyethylene that is UV resistant. Even in the most blazing sun, the cover will last a minimum of 15 years. The warranty on our fabric cover lasts 15 years, and we have seen covers last as long as 20. Our covers have UV inhibitors built in.
Okay, another question on fabric structures here from John Flattery. Do you have any building plans or layouts for feeding pigs?
Well, for specific layouts, John, please contact one of our national account managers. There are going to be a lot of factors that go into designing the ideal building for your specific application. So give us a call and we'll be happy to design something special for you.
Another question from John. Is it difficult to build a fabric structure? Do I need to hire a contractor or can I put up the building myself?
Well, all of our structures do come with complete assembly instructions, and most of the time they can be installed using simple tools. A couple of people should be able to put up a building within a few days. I myself have put up some buildings and didn't break a nail, so it's not that hard. It's sort of like a huge erector set.
Okay, that seems to be all the questions that we have on fabric structures. We'll move on to growing needs. First question comes from Ashley Tewksbury. What is the best system for identifying and correcting pH levels in water, and how do you adjust the pH if needed?
Ashley, we offer a variety of HANA monitoring instruments, both handheld and standalone. To adjust the pH, you would need an acid and a base solution to reduce or raise the pH level as needed.
Here's a question from Don Bates. What size rock wool cubes are typically used for lettuce in NFT channels?
Rock wool comes in preformed sheets that fit perfectly into a 10-20 flat, and the blocks are about 1.5 inches.
Another follow-up question on rock wool from Don. Do you need to condition the rock wool?
No, you don't need to condition the rock wool. We don't condition ours, the Grodan rock wool cubes that we use in Iowa, and we're currently growing amazing lettuce in NFT channels in our greenhouses and technology center.
Okay, our next question is on our radiant in-floor heating. Comes from Mark Miner. I am planning on purchasing a radiant in-floor heating system for an office building on my farm. Will you design a system if I provided a plan? I'm especially interested in sizing the boiler and the boiler integrated panel.
So Mark, we do supply all the components necessary for an in-floor heat system. We don't design the layout of the tubes. That's something an HVAC professional will do for you. We do, however, size how many BTUs you would need so that we can sell you the proper boiler. We also determine the amount of PEX tubing that needs to go into the floor, so we can sell you that as well. All the connections, the manifolds, the panels, we can sell you those parts as well, and including insulation to go underneath the tubes. So my bottom line recommendation is just to give us a call. We have a team of professionals here who can help you.
Okay. Our last topic today will be on greenhouses and climate control. And if you still have questions on any of the topics that we've already covered, please send them in. We'd still like to answer them, and we still have some time today, so please send them in if you have any further questions on topics we've already covered. So the first question on greenhouses and climate control comes from Alvin. In central Minnesota, we need to conserve heat while allowing passive solar gain or crop growth. Is there a recommended movable insulation that is made for this?
Yes, Alvin, we offer a retractable heat retention system. It uses a reflective material and is installed in the inside of your greenhouse or barn.
Next question comes from Sherwin Kittle. I'm using reflective shade cloth in my greenhouse. How far should this fabric be from the plastic?
Sherwin, it depends. It depends on whether you're installing the shade cloth on the outside or the inside of your greenhouse. If it's on the outside, the cloth will lie right against the plastic, which is fine. If you're installing it on the inside, you want to be careful not to create a dead air space that can heat up. We recommend installing it by laying it flat on top of your cord supports or rafter supports.
Okay, our last question today comes from Ashley Tewksbury. What's the best way to disinfect your greenhouse, hoses, feed lines, etc., to get ready for a new season?
When I grew commercially, we used a sanitizing agent that came in a 55-gallon drum. I don't recall what it's called, but it could burn your skin if it got on you, so you need to be careful when handling it. We used to run the solution through our hoses, spray down the floor with a pressure washer, and then heat the greenhouse for 2 weeks to kill off any insects.
Go ahead. Just to tell you a little bit about us, why would you choose FarmTech? We can offer over 30,000 products. We're basically a one-stop shop for your agricultural needs, and we have many national account managers that can guide you through our product line. We also offer flexible in-house financing for large purchases, as little as 6-month terms, interest-free financing for 1 to 2 years, and leasing for orders over $10,000. And you can feel free to contact me. I specialize in livestock and farm applications. My extension is 154.
And feel free to contact me as well. My extension is 170. Call me for any of your horticultural or growing applications.
Okay, thanks everybody for joining us today. It looks like we got to all the questions and we didn't have any left over at the end. A copy of this webinar and the questions will be emailed to you within a week of today's presentation, and the webinar will also be posted on our website. We'll also be hosting another question and answer with our experts in December, so keep an eye out on our website for registration information. Thanks for joining us.